Hey YouTube, Joeboy here. So, One Piece chapter 966 is out. So if you haven't checked out that chapter yet, I suggest that you do so because I will be spoiling you. Now that you have, let's begin. The greatness of One Piece 966. Honestly, I think Revujo, the person who does my thumbnail art for my channel, summed it up best for me. He said, "Holy, I am trembling in nervousness reading this chapter." Yep, sounds about right to me. You thought Haki wasn't real? It came right through the pages, man. Every single week, this flashback blows me away. I said before I wasn't sure what we would actually get. I set my expectations low because I didn't want to disappoint myself. Mission accomplished regardless, because I am not disappointed. It just so happens that I could have set my expectations really high and it still could have been met. There's simultaneously a lot that can be said about Roger and Whitebeard's fight in this chapter, and a lot that doesn't need to be said. It was awesome. End review. Enjoy it. Take it in. We have waited so long to see Roger actually fight. It's almost surreal. Is this really happening? Everyone keeps telling us that One Piece is ending soon-ish, nearing its last stage. Seeing something like this makes me believe it. Part of me kinda keeps expecting to sort of wake up and realize that this was all just my fantasy. I think for a lot of people, or at least for myself, this was the first thing in One Piece that I ever looked forward to. The beginning of the One Piece anime begins with this little piece about Roger, and I think, you know, like, when are we actually gonna meet this guy, Roger? King of the pirates, man. But yeah, what to say? It doesn't appear Roger has a devil fruit, or at least he doesn't use one. Does this confirm a lack of devil fruit for you? Or do you think Oda is still saving it and it's really subtle fruit? Truth be told, Whitebeard doesn't use his fruit either, so take from it what you will. Both Roger and Whitebeard use Haki and turn their blades black with blackness dripping from them. When they clash, the blades don't even touch. The way Oda drew it, it just looked powerful. The sky begins to change around them and just you can feel the energy. I thought previously that Whitebeard and Shanks' brief clash looks awesome, but it's just, this is on another level. Both, I assume, are using force armament Haki like Luffy is training to do right now in Wano. Yet even Odin is amazed by this, as if it's even a step beyond what you could expect from a top tier sword clash from Wano's samurai. Devil fruits are romanticized, and rightfully so. They're powerful, they're useful, but for me this chapter really hits home that all you really need is a mastery of Haki to be a top tier. I assume both Whitebeard and Roger have perfect observation Haki and future sight. They can predict everything that will happen. Then armament can damage and protect against anything, assuming you are as strong or stronger than your opponent. You want to know how a fight can last 3 days and 3 nights? Yeah, it's not devil fruit abilities. But anyway, I'm glad that we can put this Odin and his Yonko level business to rest. For this story, it never worked, in my opinion. He was put in his place in this chapter. He's strong, yeah. In my opinion, he put up a good fight against Rayleigh. Hell, he survived an attack from Roger. That's a feat unto itself. Although I think that to be reasonable here, it's more like Roger brushed Odin aside as he was heading towards Whitebeard. But he's not Yonko level. Roger and Whitebeard are on another planet. Still, and I know that this wasn't in this chapter, but this makes me think about Odin and Kaito's fight. We're told Odin is the only person ever to damage Kaito. How does that work? Did Kaito ever really fight either Whitebeard or Roger or any other Yonko for that matter? How exactly did Odin do what no one else could? I've thought about this for a long time, obviously. For a while, the community has been enamored with the idea that Kaito is suicidal. He wants to die. But as time passes, I find myself believing more and more that this might be a little bit misleading. If Kaito really wanted to die, he could kill himself, in my opinion. I don't think he literally cannot die. I believe he could starve to death or be poisoned if he truly wanted to go. All the examples we have of him being suicidal can also be interpreted as tests of his own indestructibility and power. I think Kaito is looking for a great battle, wherever he can find it. He doesn't want to be defeated necessarily, he wants the challenge. He wants to face people and face things that have a chance of harming him, because in that lies a great fight. Or something to this effect, perhaps in combination with his okayness with dying. As we saw in his initial fight with Luffy, it appeared he gave Luffy the opportunity to do whatever he could, and was disappointed that Luffy couldn't even slightly damage him. Perhaps he does this for those who he doesn't think stand a chance. And against other top tiers like Roger or Whitebeard or Big Mom, he fights all out. He doesn't give them the same opportunities that he would give to somebody like Luffy. So he wouldn't give them any free shots, he just wants a great battle. Perhaps Kaito looked down on Odin, like he did Luffy, expecting him to fail and was surprised when Odin could actually cut him, and that's why Odin is the only person so far to be able to do that. But this is just a little bit of rambling. I hope for a good reason for this, other than just to hype up Odin for the sake of it. It just personally doesn't make any sense to me for Odin to have accomplished something that people stronger than him could not. He's literally sitting there amazed that Roger and Whitebeard are fighting and their blades aren't even touching. But yeah, this chapter is just pure fan service, pure greatness. If you pitched to me the idea of a chapter focused on Roger, Whitebeard, some of the secrets of the world, new information, and Odin fanboying to all of it, yeah, sign me up. I soaked up every moment of it, every expression Whitebeard and Roger made, all the little tidbits. Roger's little Luffy moment, grinning as he tells Rayleigh and Scopper Gaban to stay back. Scopper confirmed to use axes. Roger telling Whitebeard to drop his valuables and leave. After the ceasefire, the crew's still protecting their treasure as if they expected the other to try and pull a fast one and run for it. Roger bowing to Whitebeard and Odin to take a member of his crew. It almost seemed like an act that was taboo and sacred to Roger. Like the greatest insult and compliment at the same time. It just gave me this impression. We already know this, but I like feeling it. I like seeing it. Like, this pirate is the most ideal. A pirate in the truest sense of the word. It's just goddamn awesome. And we learn that the final island that can be reached via log pose is called Lodestar Island. Roger tells us that he was the first to find it. I don't know how I feel about that. You're telling me 1,000 years or 900 years after the Void Century, Roger really believes he is the only person to follow the log to the end? I mean, if so, it's gotta be difficult to reach. And not just because of enemies, pirates, and marines in your way. At various points in time, there was somebody who was very nearly or close to the strongest, who had control over this territory in the New World. Speaking of the Yonkos themselves, my impression is there's 4 pathways after you cross Mary Joie into the New World. There's 4 sort of log paths that you can take, and the Yonko have control, each of them, over one of these paths. So roughly at the final island of each of these paths, the log would next point to Lodestar, meaning all of them should have a chance to know about its existence and try and find it. It legitimately has to be difficult to sail to. I'm just going to throw this out there. The crew is going to need Jinbei, or somebody with a comparative amount of skill. A real helmsman. Remember from Whole Cake Island how Jinbei rode Big Mom's wave? There is no way that this amount of skill isn't necessary if Lodestar is as difficult to get to as Roger suggests. The log pose literally points to where you would need to go next, yet Roger claims to have been there first. That's gotta be significant. It's gotta be so difficult that most pirates, even despite knowing about it and potentially wanting to go there, are like, I don't think that it's really worth it. And you know, this seems like a simple, obvious thought now, but I never had it before. There legitimately may be a full chapter of pure sailing to find this island. Every member of the crew contributing to make it even possible. But anyway, we have already heard about Lodestar Island earlier in the story from Inu Arashi. Supposedly, it is here that one discovers the next adventure, which Inu suggests may be the search for the poneglyphs and the road poneglyphs, and finding the next hidden island of Laughtail. And I gotta be honest, the name seems on point if you switch the L in the official to an R. Lodestar Island, the island that hints at Laughtail, which can only be found by following the road poneglyphs. I almost want to call it Road Start Island. The start of the road to the road poneglyphs. We also got confirmation of a huge community speculation. Odin was the one to write the inscription on the golden pillar in Sky Island. Honestly, I love this. I love that Oda explained this. Confirmation feels really nice. Roger could find poneglyphs because they each have a voice. In the official, it actually translates as voices, plural, which is kind of neat and cool to think about. Roger suggests that some voices are louder than others, and the poneglyph in Sky Island about Poseidon was a stronger voice. It was easier to find. Yet, Roger didn't precisely know what these poneglyphs said. He just seemed to have some kind of vague idea, like, this is generally what this poneglyph is about. Roger asks Odin if it talked about a story of great power. That seemed to be the extent of his knowledge. Nothing about Poseidon itself or where to find her. Having the voice or not, it is my impression Roger needed Odin, just as Luffy is going to need Robin, even if he also begins to hear the voice of the poneglyphs. My guess has been that as soon as Odin joined the crew, Roger went to discover all of the poneglyphs he never recorded. Again. Or perhaps went looking for some he might have missed. All of this so that he would for sure know what they say. It also appears that he collected some fish prints, which would have made the task much more accomplishable. Odin could simply translate them while on Roger's ship. But the point is, guys, is that yeah, Roger already had an interest in the poneglyphs. He could hear their voice. He collected them to some extent. But it wasn't until Odin joined the crew that I think finding Rafta was an actual possibility. And so finding the One Piece and finding this final island of Laftel is supposed to be this big deal that everyone is striving to do. All of the Yonko, every new pirate. But in actuality, it may just straight up be impossible for anybody besides the Straw Hats right now. Roger needed Odin, and the world now needs Robin. Voice of all things or not. I also want to point this out. Some might find this interesting or have forgotten. The first video I ever made that got any traction on YouTube whatsoever was called this, Buggys Secret, the One Piece. And I talked about how looking at Buggy, we can perhaps divine something about the One Piece. Buggy craves power. He craves money. That is what he is interested in. That is his treasure. Not once do we see Buggy say that he is after the One Piece. He has never mentioned it. We assume that he must be interested in the One Piece, like most pirates, especially knowing that it's real, having traveled with Roger, and even have an idea of what the treasure might actually be, but he never brings it up. I concluded that money, treasure in a sense, isn't a big part of it, or the important part of it. I also doubt it would include a weapon that Buggy believes or knows he could actually use, else he would want it. The meaning of treasure is an important theme of One Piece. What is treasure for one is trash for another. I bring this up because in this chapter, Buggy wants to steal the golden pillar in Skypiea, but Roger just isn't all that interested. That's not the treasure he seeks. I think that Buggy knows Roger, and I also think that he would know what Roger would value as treasure, which would be part of this One Piece, the thing that Roger left for other people to find. In this chapter, we can see Roger give away all of his treasure, all of his valuable, his gold, his money, to Whitebeard. It's all gone. He didn't care. Buggy's not interested in the One Piece because he knows he's not interested in Roger's treasure. Their ideas of treasure are vastly different. Like how in chapter 19 of One Piece, Luffy's treasure is revealed to be his straw hat. Something that Buggy believes to have no value at all. It also got me thinking, what exactly is Roger expecting in Raftel? He claims to be seeking its treasure. He, I think, correctly deduces that it's real based on how the government seeks to hide its knowledge, its existence. But really, what is he expecting? Or is he like Luffy? He doesn't know, and he doesn't want to know, until he has actually found it. The excitement comes from the mystery and the journey itself. It really doesn't matter what there is to find at the end of the road, so long as there is something to find. It's just one of those things that's beautiful and profound to me. But anyway, I know that you guys have noticed, it is conspicuously absent at this point. Let's talk about Blackbeard. Oda man. You know how to play us like a fiddle. All this greatness, fan service, mysteries revealed. He's got to drop another mystery to balance it all out. Shanks and Buggy comment that since the ceasefire, Blackbeard hasn't slept, and they've heard that people say he doesn't sleep at all. Oh baby, you got those One Piece shivers. Fun fact, somebody actually speculated this, no joke. I'll admit, I've seen this theory now, I'll include a link in the description. If I had seen the theory beforehand, I would not have believed it. Clearly they saw something that I and many other people could not see. This was a connection that I kind of felt like was a stretch at best. But they nailed it, props to them. But in Drum Island we hear this. By the way, did you know? People who live in snow countries don't sleep. If they sleep, they die. And in an SBS Oda drew a young Blackbeard. It's subtle, but it's there. At his feet is snow. They then paired this with a hint that Blackbeard lives twice as long as others. Perhaps he lives twice as long because he does not sleep. I don't know how seriously to take this line from Drum Island. Obviously, people in snow countries do sleep. That's just straight fake news. But Blackbeard is an interesting case. I think you guys know my thoughts on this. I think that he is more than one person. Marco says his body is weird. Why does Blackbeard's Jolly Roger have 3 skulls? Jolly Rogers are important guys, and they often have clues and meaning. They represent something. Luffy and Zoro call Teach a they, not a he. Blackbeard can eat more than one fruit, which seems to be unique. We know that one person can only eat one fruit. But if you were, say, more than one person. However that is possible, could you eat more than one devil fruit? Is this the secret? We still don't know the actual answer, but in my opinion, this is further evidence. Why doesn't Blackbeard sleep? It seems plausible that when Teach falls asleep, another Teach comes out, his other self. You might think that that's unrealistic, unbelievable, too far-fetched. Well, we're talking about a guy who doesn't sleep in the first place. It's already way out there. While one sleeps, the other wakes up. So to everyone else around him, it would appear as though he doesn't sleep. You have one Blackbeard, possibly the likable one, the cowardly one, and when he sleeps, you get the other one, the commanding, intimidating, ruthless, and ambitious one. This honestly would account for something that many people have noticed, that Blackbeard does seem to have a kind of switch that he flips, in which his personality can significantly and observably change. It's crazy. Ace hinted way back when he fought Blackbeard that Blackbeard had lived twice as long as other people. This is at least in part what he meant. Blackbeard lives twice as long because he doesn't sleep. Blackbeard is famous for this great line in the Jaya arc where dreams never die, and Blackbeard himself is a person who doesn't sleep. He doesn't sleep, therefore he doesn't dream. Or looking at it from the other side, he doesn't sleep, therefore he never stops dreaming. It seems apparent that in the next chapter of this flashback, Shanks is going to get his scar. The one that he told us hundreds of chapters ago he got from Blackbeard that still throbs. Perhaps they caught Blackbeard at the wrong time of day, the wrong time. I really want to know the details of all this. I am just so goddamn hyped about this. I cannot express with words. It really is feeling like the endgame material, man. Oda had this specific moment in mind, planned out for over a decade. And you know, I kind of envision this hilarious moment where obviously Shanks got scarred by Blackbeard, but Buggy has a double fruit in which he cannot be cut. Blackbeard tries the same move on Buggy, it's not going to be effective. I really just want Buggy to lord that over Shanks. But before we end this, I want to bring up another question. Do you think that Buggy and Shanks traveled to Raftel? It's a legitimate question. It almost feels wrong for them to. Right now, Inuarashi, Nekomamushi, Toki, Momo, and Hiyori are all baggage on this trip. I think it really is too dangerous for them. Part of me wonders whether Roger stops or is going to stop at Wano during this last voyage, leaving them there. If so, this would be the best opportunity to abandon Buggy and Shanks so that they don't find Raftel or the One Piece, and this just seems like the kind of thing that I personally would include in this flashback if I were Oda, if that's what happened. If we don't get it, I would personally assume that Shanks and Buggy did travel to Raftel. But yeah, you guys already know, 10 out of 10 pure flames, and I expect the very same for the next chapter. And I wonder just how many more chapters there actually are of this flashback. I kind of don't want it to end. But at the same time, as Oda pointed out at Jump Festa just yesterday, if this flashback continues for any longer, he just might accidentally reveal the One Piece. But yeah, let me know what you think. Let me know if you noticed something from this chapter that I might have missed. Just share your thoughts. Like the video if you liked the video, dislike the video if you disliked the video, subscribe if you want to be notified for my future content, and as always guys, have a wonderful day.